Hello, this is attorney Tim Anderson. Today is December 26, 2019, and I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes talking to you about restoring Second Amendment rights for three different types of classes of individuals in Virginia. There are three primary ways that most people lose their firearm rights in Virginia and in North Carolina. The first one is the conviction of a felony. The second one is the conviction of a domestic violence case, and a misdemeanor usually. And then the third one is a involuntary mental health commitment. So I'm going to discuss how to restore the rights on both of those in both Virginia and North Carolina, and that will encompass the next couple minutes. So in Virginia and North Carolina, you are allowed to restore your Second Amendment rights by petition to a court after certain things have happened. In Virginia, what we are looking for is a restoration of your voting rights by the Virginia governor. In North Carolina, you have to be 20 years away from your felony before you can request it. So North Carolina is pretty easy. You have to just be 20 years and then you can file a petition. In Virginia, you have to get your voting rights restored by the Virginia governor, and there's no waiting period. But you do have to be off of probation. You have to have all your fines paid. Your punishment has to all have been served. Governor is giving you your voting rights back, and then we can file a petition to restore your Second Amendment rights. Now, when you file a petition to restore your Second Amendment rights, the judge is going to look at a variety of things. He's going to look at your predicated felony, whatever that was. The more non-violent, the better the chances he's going to restore. The more violent, the more difficult it will be to restore. He's going to look at what's happened since your felony has occurred. What have you been doing with your life? What trouble have you gotten into, if any? What are your jobs? What accomplishments have you made? And we're going to put all that information in front of the court at an evidentiary hearing. And the judge is going to decide if he feels like it's safe. So if you have a cocaine felony from 12 years ago and you've been perfect ever since, pretty good chance we're going to get your rights restored. However, if you have a malicious wounding case 12 years ago involving a firearm, even if you've been perfect ever since, that could be problematic. And so every case is individual and every case is different. Nonviolent felons have a easier path than violent felons, but there are situations with violent felons that we have been able to get restored. For instance, if maybe you were involved in a vehicular homicide and had nothing to do with guns, that would be considered a violent felony, but there would be a ability to probably get firearm rights restored if enough time has passed and you've conducted yourself appropriately. So in order to get your felon rights restored in Virginia, two primary things have to be true. One, you have had to have been convicted in a court in Virginia, a state court in Virginia. And two, you have had to have had no other disqualifying factors, such as involuntary commitments and things like that. All right. So that leads the questions, well, what if I was convicted in Ohio or New Jersey? You have to restore in the state where you were convicted. All right. Part two, we can't help you if you're a federal felon. There's a rule about that on the federal side. You have to go through an ATF proceeding, and unfortunately the ATF has not been processing those applications for 20 years. The only chance right now you have of getting your federal felon rights restored is through a presidential pardon. All right, flipping over to mental health commitments. If you've been involuntarily committed to a mental hospital, there is a path to get your rights restored, your gun rights restored. It will involve the employment of an expert, a psychiatrist, to determine that whatever the conditions were that led you into that commitment in the past no longer exist, and that it would be safe for you to restore in Virginia. We file that by petition, but we do need to have an expert witness. It's possible, but it's expensive because the psychiatrists are not cheap, but that is definitely a possibility. The third category are people convicted of domestic violence misdemeanors. If you have been convicted of a domestic violence misdemeanor, that is a federal disability, not a state disability, and there is no path to get your rights restored. It's identical to a federal felon. Until the ATF is funded by the Congress, there is no path to get your rights back under federal law. So Domestic violence convictions, misdemeanor domestic violence convictions, federal felons, those people unfortunately have no path to get their Second Amendment rights restored under current existing law. State felons in Virginia or state felons in North Carolina do have a path. And if you've been involuntarily committed to a mental hospital, there is a path as well. I handle all of those matters in Virginia and North Carolina. We do offer a free consultation. Feel free to give us a call at 757-800-1000. My name is Tim Anderson. Look forward to hearing from you if you need this service. Thank you.